Hey everyone, I'm Ollie and this is
Cam.
And we're going to come into our second week of our acoustic month. So last lesson, Cam took you through dadgad open tuning and some ideas around that. We're still in dadgad tuning.
And also, if you missed the first week on how to get your guitar into dadgad, I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere around here that you can click on to find out how to tune your guitar to dadgad.
We're going to try and take it a bit further with some percussive style guitar now as well. Cam, you've been working on it quite a bit the last couple of weeks, and it's sounding really good. I haven't worked on it at all. So what we thought we'd do is Cam's going to teach me some of the basic techniques here, and I'll try and pick them up as we go. And what we're going to start off with is using the guitar as a drum, just the basic ways to get it to sound right. Then we'll start building in a rhythm, and then hopefully put it together with a chord progression at the end.
Let's go. Okay, so we're going to start off by having a look at the kick sound that we can make with an acoustic guitar. It's really the kick, it's sort of the basis. I did a terrible one there. It's a demonstration, but it's the staple of a drum kit, a kick and a snare. So we're going to be looking at both of those, but we're going to have a look at the kick to start off with. Have you got any idea of how we might make a kick sound?
Well, so it's the low sound, so like I'm guessing like the big bit.
Yes. Yeah, so there's many bits of the guitar. If you just randomly start hitting your guitar, I'm sure you'll find you can get many different sounds. But generally, where there's a big space around it, you get a nice boomy one rather than sort of a bit where there's a bit smaller bit of wood. You don't really get such a bassy tone. Also, disclaimer for this, if you're wearing rings, it might make a bit more of a sound and you might want to roll any long sleeves up. Otherwise, you just get a sort of muffled sound as if you put a cloth over your drum kit. So what we're going to be doing is quite a weird one. You think you don't want to actually move your hand too much for this one, because if you want to be strumming the strings while you're playing, you can't have your hand flailing about while you're trying to make a kick sound. Otherwise, it will just be a drum kit and no guitar. So we're going to try and get our arm nice and relaxed. And we're going to just press our forearm. There you go, you ready? So we're going to try and get from where it sort of pivots on the body here. You can see it's sort of where I generally sort of pivot my arm from strumming. You want to try and flatten your forearm against the rest of the guitar there. Okay. Right, and you just get used to moving your wrist down onto just sort of wherever it connects with above the strings there. And you want to keep it nice and relaxed. You don't want to try and push down hard into the guitar. You want more like a quick snapping motion, just like a little flex. There you go, that was a really good one. And so you just get that. Okay. And see if you can just try and get that sound going. If you're having any troubles, try and just keep it nice and quick and light, because it's all about just having that impact.
Is it staying down when you or you cover it?
It tends to stay down for me. You could take it off, but once that impact's happened, it depends on the beat you're doing. You might want to do a quick one, do two in a row, but just focus on just getting that one and getting it sound nice.
And which bit of your
I'm aiming for on my arm, not so much on the palm of my hand, but more actually along just underneath the base of my palm there. Okay. This sort of wristy bit is kind of the bit that connects nicely with it. Doesn't really connect with anything too harsh, so it's quite a nice soft bit and gives a good sound. And as you might be able to hear, I've got a bigger guitar than Ollie, so mine automatically has a bit more of a beefy sound to it rather than Ollie's got a smaller guitar, so it's automatically going to give a higher tone to the kick, but still can really get that thing. So you'll see we'll do a little bird's eye view of this as well, so you can see exactly from the top down how the wrist is coming in. Sort of angle it, but you can see my arm's bent and then it comes in like that in slow motion, just a little snap. And you can see my fingers goes down the strings the whole time. Cool. All right, you think you got that?
I don't know, have I?
I'd say so. I'd say so.
I think I'll get used to it the more we do it.
Yes. So there you go, that's the kick view, and obviously that's just one way to do the kick. There's many great acoustic sort of percussive players, and they found many places on the acoustic guitar to sort of add a kick drum. But I think this is a great one to start at because you get to stay with nice with the strings, and it's quite a low stress one to do. You don't have to move away from the strings and jump back to them quickly.
And I guess you can, once you get good at it, you can play the strings at the same time.
Play the strings at the same time, and that's what we'll be having a look at that in a few minutes' time, later on in the lesson.
Okay, so so we've got the kick, and now we're going to do the snare.
The snare's probably got more places to do on the guitar. Like I mentioned, if you're wearing rings, the snare can be anywhere now. But what we're going to look at is a really convenient one. I'm going to be using the sound hole. So I'm going to do a quick rotate so you can see. And I'm just, as if when we're strumming, I'll be going down the strings, doing my strum, and then I'm just going to catch the top of my fingernail either on the edge of the sound hole, or you can just get it on the scratch plate. But you're going to keep, again, like with the kick, we had it nice and relaxed, but we went the speed. You want that nice, just relaxed, but quick, not pushing too hard, kind of thing. So there you go. So I'll show you as well, Ollie. So yeah, that's why you've got it already. Just nice and relaxed. Fingers quite nice and loose.
Does it matter which finger?
No, whatever feels. You could use a few fingers to get like a rolling kind of, like a flam. There if you wanted to do that, but that's a good way to do it. And also, bonus one, you can do it with your thumb on the way up. That's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, that's harder.
Doesn't feel as natural. But yeah, you don't want to do it too hard, otherwise you might end up just hurting the tops of your fingers, sort of cramming them into the sound hole and get loads of bruise. So you just need to do it just quick and not very hard. You'll just get that flick like that. And there we go. So that's it. So we've got our kick, our snare. That's it. There we go. So what we're going to try now is going to put these together, and we're just going to do a simple kick on the 1 and the 3 and a snare on the 2 and the 4. So we'll do it really slowly. So we'll just do the kick, and then we'll go strum down like that, and then kick, and there. That's it. There we go. And you can see after I've done that one, obviously my arm's moving a little bit more to get back in, but it's still doing that snap to get the kick sound. One on there, it's the wrist that's coming down, and the hand's still able to, if I wanted to play some strings.
Yeah, because I guess we want to keep over. We don't want to stop.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to just slam your hand down. You won't be able to strum. You want to keep it.
Stay near the strings.
Yeah, so you can sort of do whatever with that. So there you go. So that's the little beat we've got. We'll do it one more time really slowly. That's it. Do you want to do a little demo for us, Ollie?
Let's have a go.
Very nice. And don't worry too much if you might miss the occasional snare. Sometimes it doesn't always connect. But it's no biggie. It's no biggie, really. It happens to everyone. And same with the snare if you get a weak one. Doesn't matter too much.
Happens to everyone.
Everyone gets a weak snare sometimes. Your grandma. Now, chord time. So now that we've got our drum beat down, we're going to try adding just some open strings. Thankfully, we're in an open tuning, so I'm playing a nice sounding chord. Just into the equation, just doing one strum for the kick and one strum when we do the snare. And while for the snare, it was pretty self-explanatory. We had the strum down, and then you just get that flick of the finger onto the sound hole. I'm not doing anything with my fretting hand. Like that. For the kick, bit more complex. So why we sort of flick from there, it gives our hand the freedom to do some other stuff. And as we sort of flick that down, we're going to try and flick our sort of hand up and go down like that. That's it.
Much harder.
much harder to get that flick. That's it. So again, it really helps to keep relaxed there. So as the wrist comes down, you can sort of, it's like I'll try. So I've got my limp wrist here, and you see I'm sort of flicking, this wrist is going down, and my hand's coming up like that. And that's what I'm doing with the strings.
Are you using the fingers to strum, or is it all, you're keeping them pretty much the same?
Yeah, I'm just flexing my hand, and the fingers tend to be hitting the strings there. So I missed completely there, but there you go. There you go, I'm doing that. Just like that.
Cool, and I suppose it sounds like we're just hitting the lower strings here.
Yeah, exactly, we're not...
That does make it easier.
We're not strumming through, because then, you have to do the thing. If you stretch your finger out, you can probably get them all. But it's just different levels. I think to start off, it'd be good to just target, just even if it's just that low, like D string.
Yeah.
Just to get used to just flicking that wrist up. But take it really nice and slow. Just one at a time.
Cool.
And then if you've got the hang of that, let's try combining them. So we're going to just do a kick, snare, kick, snare. Just like that.
I'll give it a go.
You give it a go.
So, kick, snare.
Yeah? That's it. Nice. Yeah, so you can probably see there on Ollie's hand, as he was kicking down on his wrist there, his hand was coming up and he was catching the rest of the strings really nicely. Much harder than the snare. Just going down like that, you can catch your finger. Awesome. I hope you're progressing as well as Ollie. So hopefully now you've managed to get a decent grasp on how to do the kick and the snare with the open strings. Nice, there you go. And just, taking it all with a pinch of salt. It takes time. Disclaimer, your arm might feel sore as well from doing it. Mine certainly did when I started doing this. So if it feels at all sore or bruised, just take a little break, come back to it. It'll be, where you're not really hitting, you don't use that bit of your arm to touch much, so it might be like that. Yeah. But we're gonna add some chords into the equation now. Like we did with the open strings, the first chord is gonna be just those open strings, like that. Very nice and easy. And we've got our D sus4 chord there. There we go. The next one we're gonna get is we're gonna get our 3 fingers on the the third fret of the D, A and D strings, E, A and D strings, like that. Just a little power chord. You can bar it like Ollie has, or you can do it with 3 fingers, like I have here. Just 3 fingers across. And then we're just gonna do that for 1 bar, move it up another 2 frets to the 5th fret, exactly same shape, just 5, 5, 5 on the E, A and D strings, very nice. And then back to the open one. Nice. Yes, and we'll be strumming all the open strings on these as well. So even though we're just fretting those 3, we'll be strumming all the other ones, getting those nice open strings.
Cool.
Last thing to do is come up with a strumming pattern. And for this one, we're just going to be doing an up and down strum pattern. No missing any, it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Easy as that. And we'll have sort of an up and down for the kick, up and down for the snare, and then we'll just repeat from there. So I'm just going to do it just with the open D sus chord. I'm not going to change any chords yet, and just do that open strumming without the beat, and then add the beat in.
Cool.
And we're going to start, I'll show you the whole thing, but we're going to do it just the kick added in first, and then we're going to add the snare in. So for example, hopefully this will be the progression that you'll have. So we're going to have just the strumming. Again, whatever speed you feel comfortable with at first. So we have that, just a kick, snare would be there. Sped up a bit by accident. And then I've added both in. There we go. Cool. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. And then we loop around from there. So I'll do the open thing and add just the kick in here. So we're gonna go kick on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. There you go. And then obviously repeat that again. And so that's the strum pattern thing. And let's add in the kick now. So we just added the kick. Add in the snare, but take out the kick, which is a bit trickier. Cool. So let's give that a little go. So we're going to not do the kick on the 1. We're going to hit that snare on the 3 now. So it'd be, down through all the strings and then catching that sound out. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And that's adding the snare in. So now let's have a little look at trying to combine both the kick and the snare in this chord progression. All right? Do you want to give it a go first?
Why didn't you give it a go?
Okay, we'll go first. So I'll do it once round, completely open, and then I'll add the kick and snare in. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4. And now. I did each chord twice as long as it should have been there. But you know, you can make all of them double if you want to. But there you go. So that was a little sound of what it's like, just at a nice slow pace. There you go. So yeah, give it a little go.
Okay, so let's start with out.
Nice, really, really good. So there you go. So I hope, you know, you guys watching at home could hear from doing it once with those open, and then when we added the kick and snare, the sort of the life that it could bring to a pretty plain chord progression. And you know, you could do it at different paces. Added a bit of swing there while strumming them open quite straight. Doing the kick and the snare added a bit in. And if you feel, you know, experimental and really enjoyed doing this, you could add, you know, 2 kicks in somewhere. I don't know how that would go. I don't know if I'm willing to try it. But you could do, you know, like a bit of Queen there.
Bit of
A boom. Yeah, experiment with some different beats, you know, if that one gets a bit boring.
That's good.
Yeah, you could sort of add a few different ones in there. But yeah, give it an experiment and see how you get along.
All right, so thanks Cam for showing us a few bits there.
That's right.
I thought we'd just do a recap of what we've covered.
Yes.
And you can tell me if I've got it right. We're basically trying to get it so that we can have a drum beat along with our strumming.
That's the final goal.
Yeah, and so we're trying to include the kick and the snare.
Yeah.
Basically, like similar sounds from a drum kit, or using those sounds in the same place. So for the kick, I'm thinking it's this kind of thing.
Yeah, keeping that nice and relaxed. A quick whip into the body of the guitar.
Yeah,
sort of
and aiming with this bit.
Yeah, nice.
Just sort of under your wrist.
Flabby. It's a bit sore if you catch the ball with your hand.
And I think that's definitely the harder one of the two.
Yes, definitely want to spend more time on doing.
And then trying to hit the strings at the same time.
Yes, just getting that whip.
Which I guess it's just going to take practice, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Once you get really good, you can do other ways of strumming the guitar while getting that kick. But it just all comes down to having that control, being able to just, you know, you'll be able to do it hopefully with your arm not even that far away from the guitar.
Yeah. And then we've got the snare, which I thought was easier, strumming through and just letting it come through and hit the edge of the sound hole there, or like you said, like the scratch platey bit, acoustic. Obviously, it's really only got to work on acoustic guitar, this, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't also hit the guitar.
It's probably worth mentioning to people that sometimes when you're sitting here, like the sound is coming out the sound hole, so it's going away from you. So sometimes you're louder than you think you are. Yeah. So you don't want to go too hard with it and injure your wrist or
you break the guitar.
But yeah, so they're the two main bits, right?
Yes.
And then we just put them together with a chord progression. So I think it's just going to take quite a lot of practice to get that together.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean,
but I'll keep working on it because I really like this. I really like this sound. It just adds a whole nother dimension to your acoustic playing, like you said right at the beginning. It's just more than just strumming, really.
Completely diverse. You know, if you're just doing like, you know, an open mic night, you could just add that into whatever song you might be doing and just give it, you know, really impress people. But it doesn't stop there. I've only just started learning about this stuff. So what I've shown you really is the extent of what I've learned, but I'm still, you know, interested in learning more. And there's tons of great guys out there who can do far more with the body of an acoustic guitar than I can. I'm not claiming to be any expert here. But yeah, so there's a few names, you know, they've got channels on YouTube. Definitely recommend checking out, like Mike Dawes, one of my favorite ones. Andy McKee's a great one, been around for a long time. Yeah. What's the other one that you mentioned there?
John Gom,
of course, really, really good. You know, and that's just opened a door. I'm sure you'll find many other great artists that are doing loads of really cool stuff with the acoustic guitar from that sort of path. Obviously, if you give all this a go, make sure to tag us, you know, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, if you feel like sharing any sort of beats you've come up with. Doesn't even have to have any chords to it. Any sort of cool sounds you made from tapping on the guitar anywhere. Just tag us it. We'd love to see it all.
So thanks for watching that. I hope you learned something from it. I certainly did. We know that we cover quite a lot of material on there, so what we've got on our website is a write-up that will have some pictures and different angles and things, so that you can, if you've missed anything in the video, you can go over there. We'll put a link in the description, and it'll go through in more detail of how to get these sounds, and there'll be tabs and photos of how to hold your hand and things like that.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
And make sure to join us next week, where we're going to be delving into another facet of acoustic guitar playing that Ollie and I have not explored yet.